I like that.
It
It's
looks really
cool.
pretty. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Mary Beth.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you guys loud and clear. I don't know if that's a good thing this early on a Monday morning.
It's really not that early. For Mary Beth, it is, right, Mary Beth?
How's everybody doing? Everybody healthy?
Yes.
Yeah, doing good.
A chance to talk to Erin last week. I meant to text her, but how's she doing, Marie? She doing okay?
Unmute.
There.
Sorry, a bunch of windows just popped up when I was trying to unmute, and I'm like, where did they go? When I last had messaged her last week, I want to say maybe it was the weekend. She was feeling a lot better, and she was staying with her brother because she didn't want to have Phil, because he's pretty compromised with his kidney failure, so she didn't want to expose him. But she said she felt so grateful because now she knows how much more she appreciates him. Missed him. But yeah, she said it's kind of crappy. She's grateful that she had the vaccine. It didn't get worse than, all the other stories. But she said it was crappy because she felt very fatigued and achy and all of that fun stuff that goes with it. But other than that, she's doing much, much better.
Good. I will try to remember today to text her. And then are you back home now, safe and sound?
I came home. Like literally, it's been like nonstop since I got here. It's been a bit much. So, because it was my son's 35th birthday on Saturday. So we've had all of that. And then I come home and I left my house clean, my car filled up, detailed, the whole bit. I came home to a dirty car, looked like they dragged it through the desert, empty. And my house was a mess. And I'm like, what in the world happened? And I'm like, we don't know what you're talking about.
That's kids.
Everything looks just fine.
Yeah, and Charlotte's like, I don't know what your problem is. Everything was great. So, yeah.
Home safe and sound. We have a new friend joining us today, Faye. I'm going to let Marilyn introduce her. And
are you here yet? What? Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, she's waving. Can you see her, Marilyn?
No, because the computer won't let me in, so I'm on the phone. I don't know why. It won't open the Zoom.
Okay.
Anyway.
Send you the link?
Maybe try sending it one more time. I don't know why it won't open.
You want to enter Faye to everybody, and I'll go ahead and take care of that.
Okay. I'm sorry, Faye, I can't see you.
Morning.
Faye, oh, there you are. Yay. Faye is a very, very, very dear friend who's a social worker, like so many, and has just recently retired. And you know a lot about her. Faye says that it's okay to tell you that her son is the one who came up with Love is Greater Than Pain. So the story in the book about Alan is her son Amir, and Faye is Afsaneh. And I'm getting a hug, I'm sure you are too, from Alan. And I'm really excited that you're joining us. I think you're going to love this group, and I think it's going to be nice. Yay.
Welcome, Faye. Yes.
Welcome.
We all know, we connected to you by reading Marilyn's book, which is very special. And your journey's been a tough one, right?
Thank you so much. I would like to thank Marilyn first for all her support, all her love and kindness through my journey for the past 12 years. On July 30th, that would be 11 years of his celebration. And thank you all for letting me to be with you. And as Marilyn said, that after I lost my son, I decided to go back to school and at the late 50s and get my social worker degree. And I started, which I completed in 2016. I introduced myself as a late bloomer through all my work interview. And since 2016, I'm working as a social worker, MSW. And in my best honest opinion, that was how I saved myself and my sanity through this painful journey. And I left my job 2 months ago. It doesn't mean I'm retiring, but going back to job market as a part-time social worker, not anymore full-time. And thank you so much. This is my first session, and I am here to be with you all. Thank you.
Asfana. It's Mary Beth. I don't know if you recognize me. We met a few years ago. So you have another familiar face on the Zoom.
That's nice. Oh,
Good
hi.
to see
Hi,
you.
Mary
Yes.
Beth. Yes.
Yeah, we're welcome, Faye. We're really happy to have you here. We're a pretty nice group for the most part.
I agree.
Sometimes we fly by the seat of our pants, which is kind of fun too. And we started a study of the book Atlas of the Heart. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but Marie is kind of leading us on this study, which has been kind of fun. You've got a nice mix of people here, a lot of people kind of in your industry, so to speak, and then some of us lay people like me, you know, who most of the time don't know what y'all are talking about, but sometimes I find that it resonates really well. We try to start our days with a meditation if we can, so that we can start off on the right foot. I don't know if Marilyn told you, but last week, the whole session was a meditation. It was really fun. So welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Marilyn, I did text you the link again.
Okay, Harry's over here with the computer. Is it working?
My other
I'm going.
question for you, Marilyn, is you can just can you log into Zoom and then just type in the credentials? I can give them to you.
Okay, Harry, you want to try that?
Just go straight.
You know what? We're gonna get a kid. Hold on a minute. Can you grab Sarah and maybe grab
Best-
your
best
computer?
solution.
That'll work. Okay, because that's how it works around here, you know.
Okay, well, Marilyn's getting organized. Faye, we usually wait till a little bit after 10 to get started so that everybody has a minute to grab their coffee and join us. I shared this story with Marilyn and Janet last week, so I thought I'd share it with you all. So as you know, last week I tested positive for COVID, and 4 tests of COVID, no symptoms, so to speak of. I sneezed a couple times, so you know it was pretty mild in my consideration. And so I had big social plans on Wednesday, and I tested Wednesday to make sure that I was negative, and I tested positive again, and I was so disappointed because it was a birthday party I had planned. And I thought, I'm going to go back and look at the directions. I must be doing it wrong. So I went back and looked at the directions, and sure enough, C on the test does not stand for COVID. 2 lines stand for COVID. So I spent the last week and a half sequestered, taking care of my one symptom, and I never had COVID. So
I have to tell you all something though, that actually has bearing on what you're talking about this moment. The test, if you're talking about the at-home test, right? It's only 50% of, it only picks up the virus 50% of the time for the new variant. So if that makes you feel better, you still could have had it.
I feel okay. Yeah, thank you, Sophie. I feel much better now.
Yeah, I
Although I
try.
did take the test 4 times, so I think in 4 times. But yeah, so I was staying home, and probably it was the universe saying just stay put and stop driving all over town. And so anyway,
Lisa, you made me feel so much better about myself because that was such a thing I could have done. I have been laughing ever since you told me. It's like
And I feel horrible because, like I was at the restaurant the other day and I had been having some back issues and one of the staff said, "Oh my gosh, are you okay? Is that a symptom?" So I'm like, oh no, I still got to tell them that I've been just at home hanging out. Rita, it's nice to see you. Before we get started, how's your kitchen coming? It looks so pretty.
Oh, it's on hold. This is as far as it's going to get for a while. My carpenter is off on the summer doing other projects.
Wow.
But it's very lovely. It's very lovely. I like it a lot.
Yeah, makes me want to cook there.
Yeah, it makes me want to cook too.
Oh, makes me want to come and eat things there.
Yeah, me too.
I only just got to the Zoom. I couldn't find it. Just give me 1 second. I'm trying my best. I haven't even clicked it yet.
Okay.
We will have Marilyn do our protection prayer in just a minute as when you feel up to it, Marilyn, and then Janet.
Okay, well, we can do.
Go ahead.
And then Janet, go ahead.
Yeah, did you all get the thing about trying to think of something you'd like to manifest? Did everybody think of something? And can you spend a moment while you're doing the protection prayer so you can start to visualize if you could manifest anything for yourself, for your loved ones, for the world, what you would like, so that we can do this exercise and meditation.
Ooh, there's a lot of things.
Wow.
Okay, we could do the protection. Oh,
You're up.
did you get it? Okay, we got it. Wait, hold on.
Kids are so handy sometimes.
Oh, there's Sarah. Hi, Sarah.
Hi. Sorry.
Good.
This is the lady.
Yeah, my daughter hooked up my printer. I've lived in this house for 6 weeks. I didn't have a printer, but she hooked it up over the weekend.
Okay, wait, Sarah, I'm
Is
gonna,
that volume okay?
yeah, I want to go to, which is
The
gallery?
is that it?
Sarah's gonna help me yet again. Hold on.
No.
Uh,
Sorry.
If you're looking, it's either upper right corner that says view or upper right corner.
I think I know where it is. Wait a minute. This. And then, no, it's still on. Oh, participants right here, right there. See that? Yeah.
No.
Sorry.
Let me just look for a second.
Okay. Sorry, it's been so long.
That upper right corner, it says view, and if you click on it.
Yeah, and it'll ask you if you want to see everybody or just the person that's speaking. It says speaker gallery or immersive. I don't know what immersive is, but today we'll try that next time. So Janet, so when we are going to do this meditation today about manifesting, so when we think about it, are we thinking about not only what we would like, but all the detail that's related to it?
Yes, and we're going to be doing that in the meditation, and then finding out what we need to clear so that we can manifest it, bring it into our lives.
Okay, I like it. So Marilyn, do you feel like you're ready to do our protection?
Absolutely. We'll all have our eyes closed anyway, and Sarah can play with the computer. Try and fix it. Okay. So get comfy, and Sarah's right here, and there's a kitty right here. And take a deep breath. We clothe ourselves in a robe of light composed of the love, the power, and wisdom of divine consciousness. We wear it not only for our own protection, but also so that those who see it or come in contact with it will be drawn to divine and healed. Please, divine, let your light surround us, permeate us, emanate from us, and reflect back to all, and let us all remember that we are the light. And take another deep breath. And there it is.
Thank you. All right. And so we'll continue with our eyes closed. And taking a deep breath in, remembering that we are just particles, electrons, neutrons, protons, circling around in a form that gives us our human form. So as you breathe that in, imagine the space that occupies this form, which is you. All the space that's there as those particles spin around, held together by a force that creates our form. And as you're breathing that in, breathing in love, gratitude, strength, awareness, openness. And especially breathing in the gratitude that we can all be together on this journey at this amazing time on the planet. And in that sense of gratitude, I'm going to ask you to visualize whatever it is that your soul, your heart, your body would like to manifest today. It could be radiant health and strength. It could be monetary benefits. It could be peace or joy or awareness or anything on that spiritual journey that can help ourselves, our loved ones, our planet to heal. And without judgment, really allow what it is you'd like to bring into your life today, beginning today in a way that we may not know how it unfolds, but it will unfold. And it may not unfold exactly how you picture it, but it'll unfold in the best version of what will help you and the world. So imagining in your heart, visualizing what it is you're asking for. Imagine how your life would change if what you're manifesting actually occurred today. What would change about your life, the lives of your loved ones, the lives of the planet? I'm going to ask you to really visualize today what you would do with that change, with that manifestation, so that after the call, whatever you asked for was there. And there's this huge domino effect as you imagine this call ending and you have the joy, the strength, the radiant health, the money, whatever it is you need or want. Take the first step of what you would do or how you would feel or what would happen inside and outside of you. And as you take that first step, allow the next steps to unfold. So I'll give you a moment to really visualize that and feel it, heart, soul, body. And it might make you smile. It might make your shoulders relax. It might make your heart feel more full. Your life may be full of more opportunity and benefit. And if you find yourself stopping or limiting yourself, take a deep breath. Imagine those particles that make up you expanding to allow this to happen. Because if even only one person on this planet has manifested this, that absolutely means you and I can do it also. So carry out your dream. step by step, today, tomorrow, this week, the rest of this year, and beyond. And the details may start to show themselves. The details of whose life you are touching and how. The details of your life. And how that affects all who are around you. And the domino effect on the planet. And we'll keep working on that. But I'm going to ask you to go back to when you may have learned that whatever you're thinking of was not possible. It may be conscious or it may be unconscious. As a young person, or even later in life, someone, something taught you limitation. So go back to that feeling of limitation. And if it isn't clear when that happened, go back to just in general, feeling limited. Feeling like your body, soul, spirit, heart was limited. And you're going to tell that part of you exactly what it needed to hear and probably needs to hear today. And it may be things like you are safe, you are capable, you are loved, and you are loved. And whatever you desire, you can work towards and create. You are a creator of this life, of the evolution of this planet, the creator of future generations, animals, people that you're going to touch. And look at you now, no matter what age you heard those limitations, look at how far you've come right now. Breathing that in, feeling the expansion, and feeling that little child within or younger version of yourself, knowing that whatever it learned or she learned is no longer applicable. And we're going to do the Ho'oponopono prayer right now 3 times as a way that we know in the future when we feel limitations or whenever fear comes up, we can say this to ourselves, just like that psychiatrist healed the criminally insane by not even meeting with them, but just by intention. And the words he said were, I love you. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. And thank you. So imagine that younger person. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And thank you. And one more time, right here, right now. I love you. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. And thank you. And as you go back to what you were manifesting and wanting to manifest, breathe it in more clearly, without limitation, without fear, without worry, but with a strong belief. You're going to surrender, trust, allow, and receive that aspect of your heart and soul that's been knocking at your door for a long, long time. And again, it may feel very vast right now. Maybe you don't even need the details. You just know the feeling of freedom, of health, of love, and of peace. And watching the little particles that make up who you are, dancing in delight. That now is the time to allow evolution, transformation, joy, health, abundance. Taking another deep breath. Joining in all the women here that are on the call, that have been on the call, as a circle of energy that promotes all of our dreams. And it's okay if we try to ground ourselves right now by feeling our bodies, feeling our breath, feeling the connection to our heart, soul, and body, feeling the connection to one another, and the connection to our dream. When you're ready, coming back slowly with your breath, with your heart, to being here on the call, and opening your eyes whenever you're ready. You know, this, I listened to a meditation, and then from the meditation, this came up to me, and I would love it if anybody wants to share. But what happened to me is, and maybe some of you are more my age, know that we were raised, like I was raised by parents who, my dad loved me. I'm not sure about my mom, but my dad would tell me I could be anything. But when it came to new bicycles, I would get the old one. My brothers would get the new ones. Cars, my brothers would get the new ones. I'd get the old one. And so although his words were saying he loved me, he paid for their college. I had to work through college. But when I come down to it, I got to be strong. And my brothers are no longer alive. I'm going strong. And I'm in appreciation to him, but I go back to that little girl who walked out and everybody else had new Barbie doll bikes and I had this old clunker, and I went, I just had to get stronger to pump that bike. And so I made a thing, I don't know if I can show you, I made a $12 million check from the universe that says, to Janet Lee Whitney from the universe with love. And I wrote it out. I think I have it here. And I wrote down everything I would do to help my kids and the homeless and maybe leave this house. Everybody knows I'm not so happy about this house. Let me see if I can show it. But I wrote all the things about it and made it decorative. And I would suggest you do that for yourself because I think it can work. I believe it can work. So that's my story.
I feel like that's kind of, and Marie, you have to unmute, but I feel like that's kind of like a mini, that board thing that you do, Marie.
Vision board.
Thank you.
Vision board. Janet, actually what you just said is exactly what the 4 agreements taught. You had agreements that they were taught to you, you didn't have control, and you rewrote them.
Oh, there you go. Look at that. We could have used that as an example back then when I was struggling.
But and it also goes to mindset, right? Because there is the fixed mindset and then there's the growth mindset. And you're choosing the growth mindset.
It's like challenge accepted. And I really love and appreciate, my dad did love me, but he grew up in a time where it was just a different world. And yeah, but he would still say, you could do whatever you want. And I go, okay, watch me.
I love that, Janet. I love the visual on that too. That really resonated with me. I'm going to make my checkout today too. So I like that idea. And it was the same reason I had asked you if I'm supposed to be looking at how it goes forward. And the truth is that's kind of something in my mind. Can I, I'm looking at some monetary stability basically, right? And I'd like to have a little house and a garage. So, but I'm looking at, can I help my friends and can I live some of these dreams that I've had, living abroad and stuff like that. And so the meditation was really helpful because I was very specific. And so that was kind of nice. Have any of you heard of aphantasia? So evidently, and I just learned about this last week. I have not, I'm assuming some of you guys can help me and figure this out. But basically what it is the ability for you to close your eyes and see an apple, for example. So if you close your eyes and you can see an actual apple, or do you just have the sense of what an apple is supposed to be? So aphantasia is the inability to actually see the concrete apple, but you know what the apple is, you have the sensation. So the reason I bring this up is because in my meditation today, recognizing that I don't have that ability to visualize the physical apple, it really helped me today to not try so hard to concentrate on something, but more concentrate on the feeling. So I don't know if anybody else struggled with that, but it's something I learned last week. And, I'm kind of proud of myself for having aphantasia.
I have it too, Lisa. I totally have it, and it's okay.
Yeah, but it does, because sometimes you and Marilyn take us on these great meditations and everybody comes out and they're like, oh, and I saw the ivy and the grass and oh, it was so pretty. And I'm over there going, yeah, I felt it. I just didn't see it. So now I feel like I can join in better. Yes, Marilyn.
And I'm sorry, I'm not on gallery, so I can't see anybody. So, but sorry about that. But it's interesting because the meditation, sometimes I can, but just now with the apple, I couldn't see the apple, but then I realized I smelled it.
Oh.
So there are a lot of ways to do it. And I think oh, the cat's biting me. She thinks I'm an apple, but I think there are a lot of ways to do it. And I think that as I've gotten older and been channeling more, the visualizations and the concreteness of it is dissipated and the feels have become more the forefront.
Right.
So I don't think there's any one way. I think it's all a process, and I have a feeling we might morph and change as we go.
Ooh, morphing.
Morphing.
Sophia, did you want to say something?
Yeah, yes, I wasn't familiar with that term until a couple years ago, and I'd forgotten that my friend, his son has that, and they just figured it out, and he doesn't remember what anything looked like. He's really smart. He's going to a good college and everything, but they didn't figure it out till like a couple years ago that he doesn't really remember. Once that's moved, he can't visualize it because once it's moved out, he doesn't see it in his mind's eye.
Did you guys know Brad Pitt has that? When I found out Brad Pitt, he doesn't recognize faces. And I thought, well, good. We're like Brad Pitt. I don't recognize faces.
I'm going to use that.
I'm just like Brad Pitt. Should we dig into our book now? I'm going to let Marie kind of take over, but Marie, envy and jealousy, I just want you to know, since I have read that chapter, I have not used the word jealous once. I have looked at somebody and said, oh, that makes me envious. So that was kind of a life changer for me to read that one little thing in the chapter. So
I wanted to ask you where you all want to start, because comparison is really big. When she talked about comparison, how it's an action, it's not an emotion, right? She's really pointed out a lot of these things in the book. So I wanted to find out, because there's a lot to this. There's admiration and reverence, and what does that connotate for us? And then we have the envy and jealousy, right? And then your favorite words, Lisa. Schadenfreude, what is it? Schadenfreude and Freudenfreude.
Freud, and yeah, those
Yeah.
are the words I.
So I was kind of wondering if maybe we can just open up in what really resonated, because yes, the envy and the jealousy piece was huge for me. Because I was listening to that piece this morning again, because I would normally say, "Oh, I'm so jelly," but then I stopped to think about, "Oh, that's not being that's not being impeccable with my word, right?" It's just recognizing how words are utilized, kind of thing. So I wanted to see, like, also reverence for me. It's one of my words. Reverence is it's when I have it, when I am in high respect of someone. For me, that's reverence. And she really pointed some things out about, reverence and how it connotates, which has that religious piece to it, right? So I was kind of wondering, where would you lovely ladies like to go with this? Because there's a lot of comparisons here that she was making.
Yeah.
What if we start with the envy and jealousy? Because it's really interesting. I don't know if it happened with everybody else, but after I heard envy, that I'm envious when I see somebody's home or whatever it might be, I got sick of it, and I went, I'm not doing that anymore, because I didn't like the word envy. But when I saw Elvis Presley's movie, I said, I'm jealous of Priscilla Presley and every woman he had or whatever, and I was really jealous. But I don't mind saying that.
But isn't it interesting how envy has such a negative connotation to it, that even saying it, you could feel your body having that little resistance? It's like, oh,
So Marie, my reaction is the opposite. I don't like the word jealousy. And envy seems like something I can manage. Jealousy feels like something that's out of control, right? Envy makes you maybe want to do things different or strive for other things because you would like to have what that person has. Jealousy on my side makes me feel like I'm being petty, and that's for me. So it's kind of interesting that some people like the word jealousy better than they like the word envy.
Yeah.
Mary Beth had something.
Yes, Mary
So
Beth.
jealousy, my understanding with jealousy was that it's based out of fear. So fear of losing someone, right? So I'm jealous that somebody's flirting with my husband because I'm afraid of losing him. So that kind of cleared it up for me. And envy is not pretty, but you can ask yourself, why am I envious? And and now that we've done this meditation, what do I need to do to get what I want? Because a lot of times it's not even what that person has, but what you want in your life that you're not getting.
Yeah. In the book, she talked about envy, that it involves two people from some research study that she quoted. And then with jealousy, that it usually involves three people. But isn't that interesting? Because then you talk about, I went to the aspect of the projection, right? Because if you're feeling threatened based on fear, now you're projecting out to two people, two additional people out of the three. In envy, it's between two. So at least you're putting your junk on one person. You're putting your junk on two other people. And then who knows what they're going to do, right, with their stuff. So I'm trying to look it up really quick in the book. So she defines envy occurs when we want something that another person has. And jealousy is when we fear losing a relationship or a valued part of a relationship that we already have. And any way you put it, these two still put you in a struggle. You're still in a struggle.
When I was reading this, I related it to when Spencer was in grammar school or grade school. And there were a group of moms that did everything together. They hung out at each other's houses. They went camping together. They, everything that had anything to do socially, they were super involved. And I really thought, I want to be part of that, but I didn't get invited to all of the things. I mean, they'd say hi and we're always kind, but I didn't get invited to go camping and do all this fun social things. So I really started to try and think about that in this envy, jealousy. kind of scenario. I guess after you've described jealousy as being more than two people, I guess that's what it was. But if I think of it from a perspective of being envious of it, it didn't hurt as much.
Mhm.
You know, it
But
didn't.
remember, in the book, she does talk about envy that can be very hurtful because you want it, but you don't want it for the other person. That's the hurtful one,
Okay.
where you want that possession of whatever that is, or you want whatever it is, but you don't want it for that person. You just want it for you.
Well,
Because she kind of split it into the two categories. One is more toxic than the other, but regardless in how you put it, all three of the two types of envy and then jealousy still puts you in that position of a struggle.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
she went on to say that there was this, I love when she quote, you know me, I'm the geek. I love the studies. So there was a study where they found 90% of all of recalled episodes of envy can be attributed to one of three categories: attraction, for example, physical attractiveness, romantic attraction, social popularity. There goes Brad Pitt. Number two, competence, intelligence, knowledge. And then number three, the obvious, wealth, financial status, or lifestyle. Right? So it's interesting.
Yeah, it just feels, the envy, jealousy just feels really, what's a good way to describe it? Tangible.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, with envy, she said that it has that hostility to it. It's that part that I want it for me, but I don't want it for you.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Which is for me personally, that's against my nature, right? I want it for everybody. So so I guess envy doesn't work for me either. So
You know, it's interesting because there was a client last week. She said something profound where she's got a beautiful relationship. Husband does a great job, takes care of her, meets all her needs, whatever. And the mom said to her, I'm the one that should have that.
Ooh.
I'm the one that should have that, not you.
You know, Marie, that's so weird because if you think of any of us who are mothers, we want the best for our kids. It's not about us. No.
And the mom said that, and that's pretty profound, isn't it?
yeah, wow. But Sophia,
Narcissist.
Sophia, you're muted, so unmute. I can see you talking.
Sorry, I was just saying the obvious. I mean, that's shocking, and it speaks volumes about what is going on with those two people. And having a mother like that would be an incredibly difficult, way to grow up. And I don't even, sometimes people say these little pithy things that are so revealing, right?
Mhm.
And that pretty much says everything about her as a mom, right?
Well, the very fact that everybody on the screen, had a face like, what? So I mean, that's really amazing, almost astonishing that she felt comfortable verbalizing that as well. That's
You see how hurtful that part of it is?
Yes.
Envy, right? It's very hurtful. I mean, we're listening to it and we're not, in that scenario related, but yet we hear it and it's like, ooh, you know?
It's hurtful, so hurtful.
Very hurtful.
As we're talking about jealousy and envy, the next word was resentment.
Yes.
And, I remember years ago when I was in therapy before Janet, I'm a lifelong go to therapist person. I just remember the therapist saying, once resentment gets into a relationship, it's near impossible to fix it.
Wow.
And I think about that all the time. Like if something happens to me, I think, and I'm resenting it. And I'm like, oh gosh, if I don't fix this now, this is permanent damage to this going forward. So resentment is not a good word for me.
And resentment is part of envy.
Okie dokie. That's a full circle. And I hate the word envy.
that's what she had been consulting with the industrial organization psychologist. And she thought that resentment stemmed out of anger or fear, which is always behind anger is fear. And he's like, nope, it's part of envy. And then she completely understood at that point, like, oh, so when I'm upset, at my husband, it's because I'm envious that he has the time to do whatever he does and I can't.
Yeah. Faye, I see you took yourself off mute. Doesn't mean you have to speak, but I just checking on you just in case you wanted to say something.
Yes, I was debating with myself. If we could go back to the mother and her statement, I don't know how old she is, both of them are, but basically it shouldn't be that much surprising for the daughter, because there should be some signs through her.
Oh, the mother for sure. The mother has a personality disorder, so, but nevertheless, even though the daughter knows that mom has her struggles, it's still something so hurtful.
It is. I quite agree. And if we look at the Freud theory, girls and the father and mother and the boys.
Back to Freud, right?
But I have seen it. I've heard it. And interestingly, I have a young adult daughter, and I see it between her friends and their mothers, that some of the mothers are probably through the challenges that they had in life, they really think that they deserve part of that comfort from their daughters, and probably they are asking for it. Take care of me.
Yeah. So interesting. I'm sure for some of us, it's stirring up a lot of emotion right now. And I'll have to book a session with Janet. But, the truth is my relationship with my mom was not great. And it is now. It's in this really interesting place right now where she wants to spend time with me and do stuff, which is still a little scary because she tended to be manipulative when I was growing up. But one of the things that helped me was when she did things like that, similar to your patient, Marie, I always said to myself, she never had the tools. She didn't ever have the tools to be a parent or, one of those kind of moms that I had envied of all my friends had, those kind of great moms that took them shopping and stuff like that. But she didn't have the tools. She didn't have that growing up. So it helped me, separate me from her emotion that she wanted to impart on me. But that's a hard thing. It still doesn't make it any easier to hear it, especially from a mother, right? So, we're sending her love, Marie, obviously.
It's, I think it's just, it's shocking always to the mind when you hear something like that, especially as a female. Because our nature is our tendency to be motherly, even when you don't have your own children. I know many women. Erin is one of them. She doesn't have her own children, but she mothers so many people. Yeah. So that's, it's still, I think it is shocking to our senses when we hear stuff like that.
I want to ask a question, Marie, about resentment and hurt, because I'm thinking about people I thought I might have resented because they hurt me. But that maybe it's just hurt and it's not even resentment. I'm trying to figure that out.
Resentment, I would say, well, let me look first how she defines it. I think maybe that would work better. She said she puts resentment in bitter.
Bitter.
Did she define it in here? Oh, here. She said, while resentment is definitely an emotion, I normally recognize it by a familiar thought pattern. What mean and critical thing I am rehearsing saying to this person. So it's resentment is when you're being critical of someone.
That, she also said in there like that she felt resentful towards people who she perceived to be not working or sacrificing.
Exactly.
or
I've
protecting.
been guilty of that myself.
When you sit there and you're working your ass off and the person next to you doesn't seem to be putting in the same effort, that I could see that. So how does that relate? Because that person didn't hurt me. They just pissed me off, right?
Yeah.
The difference, Janet, right? I don't know. I'm just trying to help define the difference between the hurt and the resentment.
Yeah, hurt is when you feel that desire to react to what just happened, because you're not necessarily responding from that hurt place. It's like that jab in the gut kind of thing when something in you has been triggered. Resentment, it really has to do what we're upset about. For example, she gave the example of somebody else working that she was resenting because here she is working her tush off and the other one isn't. And then she realized like, oh, this is me being envious that I don't get to just be still and do nothing. You know, I have to work my tush off. So,
Yes.
and I know what that's like because I've been there.
Mary Beth, did you want us to add something?
Yeah, so it's a perceived injustice, right? So you're perceiving that it's unjust that they get to, you know, sit on their tush and you have to work your butt off, right? That's about you, but you can also feel it about someone else, right? So I'm very resentful of my father-in-law because I don't like how he treats my husband, right? So when I read that, I'm going, oh my God, that's me, right? It's the perceived injustice. And so I resent him. I'm not envious of him, right? But I perceive that he's mean, right? He's just not, he's not a good father. And so to me, that makes me angry and resentful. So I'm trying to get over it. It's hard.
But so she says clearly though that resentment is envy.
It
So-
comes from envy. So I'm wondering if maybe it's more anger than it is resentment.
That's what I'm trying to.
It's an either, you can do or. Resentment is a feeling of frustration, judgment, anger, better than, and or hidden envy related to perceived unfairness.
Okay, you're not envious, Mary Beth.
Angry.
Wow. I mean, gosh, this is like a well. These words are just like have so much.
Yeah, because if you think about it in terms of the injustice of it, right? As a human being, you love someone else. You know I get angry when I see the unfairness out in the world. It's that part of me that's like, we got to make this right. But I would say for me, that's definitely anger. I don't have the resentment. I have the anger that it's even occurring.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like the other day when I was out jogging, when I was at my daughter's, and she lives in a beautiful place. Everything's green, gorgeous trees. I mean, forests everywhere. And one of the roads that I take where I go jogging, when you go down the line, you see all of this trash that people just toss. The anger that comes over me when I see that, it's like, can't people be respectful of that?
Yeah.
So for sure, that's not envy at all. That's just the anger of that. Here we have this beautiful ecosystem and it's being ruined.
Yeah, that's such a good example, Marie. I mean, I experienced that yesterday. Somebody threw out a gum wrapper, you know, out of their car window, and it was like I just needed to catch up and yell at them, you know. But I mean, the anger was just right here. I was so mad at this person. I'm like, God, why would you? You know, it consumed me for a great amount of time on the freeway yesterday. How can I get to this person and drive it in their head that, you know, it was you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
That was anger, definitely anger. I was not resentful. I was very angry at that situation. Sita, you're here. I want to say hi, first of all, because we've missed you. And not too long ago, Marilyn shared with us in your book that you have a page of words to that everybody was excited about hearing Marilyn. I can't remember specifically what it was, but it was, in other words, there was not just 2 emotions or 3 emotions. You have a whole page in your book of emotions. And so out of curiosity, I didn't know if resentment and all of these.
It's been really interesting to hear everybody's analysis of all of these different emotions and to read hers. I really love Brene and I commend her for attempting this because she reaches so many people and she does so much research. She's got a whole team of people that she works with. And then to hear all of your perceptions, it just is extremely interesting to me. And my history with trying to figure out emotions is that I know that I would just get so literally depleted with my emotional state that I really I couldn't really even pinpoint, or no, actually I would pinpoint, oh, I'm angry about this, or, generic words like that. And so when I was introduced to Marshall Rosenberg's work, it totally floored me. And he's the one that came up with this list of words. And his basic philosophy, which is the basic philosophy of my How to Do book also, is that we run our whole life on 2 concepts, whether we're acknowledging it or not. And that is what we are feeling and what we are needing. So, for example, the anger was triggered with you, right? When the gum wrapper got thrown out, the anger was triggered with you. But for you to want to keep on going and get after that person, that anger is something that's within you. And that's what I would contemplate. Okay, well, why in the world is this driving me? Okay, I have anger, but why is it driving me crazy?
Yeah.
So Dr. Marshall Rosenberg would take it to the next step to ask you, well, what is it that you personally need that's missing in your life that is keeping that anger going? And I could imagine you could go into, well, I have been striving personally to make a difference in this world. So I think that person should strive also, basically. And so I want everybody to strive also. But then you go deeper and you say, okay, but that's not a personal need because you cannot have control over anybody except yourself. So what's your personal need to hold on to that anger? And that's something that, we would go into contemplation about. Okay, so all these words, as far as the emotions go, he literally has a list of words, and I've added to some and taken away some because it's not a list of all the emotions, but it's shocking how many emotions there are. I mean, it's a huge 3-column list of feeling words that you can feel when your needs are actually met, like joy and bliss and ecstasy and effervescent and happiness. And then a whole list, the list is longer, of what you can feel when your needs are not being met. So envious, jealousy, resentment, all of those words are in there. And what I like to do with the list of words, I've been practicing this, for the last 20 years, is that when I start feeling too overwhelmed with my emotions, like the anger just, I can't subside it, like what else is going on? I will pull out that list and look at all the different words, and different words will trigger something immediately within me. And I go, aha, that's what's going on. Aha, that's what's going on. And at different times, it'll be completely different words or some of the same words. It is just really extremely useful because you can feel resentment, envious, regretful, all at the same time. And you can feel those things without feeling resentment. It's very interesting. Our emotions cannot be controlled, but we want to know what they are. And so for me, I was thinking that I didn't even want to go into this chapter because I was so excited to get her book. But then when she started going into definition of what each emotion is, I said, okay, wait a minute. I processed that like 20 years ago. That's going to be a can of worms. I was like, I don't know if I want to go there, but I was told to go on this morning, so here I am. So this is, like I'm saying, it's just interesting to me. So let's put it this way, I have sympathy for everybody because she is now throwing all of this out at you.
Yeah.
I couldn't even, when I first started out, it's like, what is an emotion and what is a thought? Those things get so scrambled up, and then many emotions just get buried because of our stories.
Mhm.
And so when you take the list of words, which of course I'd be glad to share with everybody, when you take the list of words, we all are this age, we have a vocabulary, we learned. So whatever jealousy means to you, when you see that word, you're going to have a certain feeling. And then when you see the word resentment, you're going to have another feeling. And that's what I really like about the list also, because you can start differentiating the different emotions that you have been experiencing, which is really, really can take you on a journey like crazy. And it's good to go through that. So what I'm coming to the conclusion more and more with the dialogue that I'm hearing here, are you still with us, Janet?
Janet's there. She just doesn't have her video on. She's still there.
I had to go let my dogs had to get out. And so I had to crawl.
What I would suggest, what's very interesting about feelings and discussing them is that we have to discuss them with our mind, okay? So our mind goes then into gear because it's this extremely curious weapon, organ that we have that's non-stop. So what I'm trying to say is that basically feelings, you literally feel them in your body. So whatever definition you give them, whether it's jealousy or envy, It's like, what is that making you feel?
Sure.
So I was going to add to this is that whatever word you're going to use, there could be degrees of that. Because one of the stories that I wrote about, I was talking about watching the little tiny kittens. It was so sad for me. I had 2 cats that had babies. So we had 11 little tiny kittens. Can you believe it? It was mind boggling. And these moms would work it so that these babies always had a mom with them. And they're nurturing. Little by little, I realized I became envious of those little kittens. I'm going like, I want to be a nurtured kitten. I didn't get that kind of nurturing. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I am feeling envious of a little kitten. Hello. So,
Sita, I get that with Charlotte when I see her just lounging and just
yeah.
relaxing all day, and here
Yes.
I'm trying to get my work done.
Exactly. So what I put there and I'm adding here is it's the degrees of the emotion that we're feeling.
Right.
So what I wrote is that I was envious of these little kittens, and it was not the fun kind of envious. You know, the fun kind, like when you just see like a bunch of kids jumping in the pool and you could wish you could go jump in there too, but you know, you just did your hair or something.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. You know, if I'm watching those kids jump in the pool and I wish I could too, that is a type of envy, but it's certainly a very enjoyable envy, you know?
Yeah. I think I see where you're going, Sita. I think it's the feeling that you get from the word.
Right.
And
We got to remember that it's inside of us.
right.
We were literally born with a million emotions, feelings. It's just, and that our language has been able to put them into words is really kind of surprising, and, you know, yay for the language.
So Marie, where is she taking us on this journey?
So it's all based on the research that she's been doing, you know. So I know Sita says that we have, yes, our language has been able to devise a lot of the emotional words, but specifically the English language lacks a lot of the emotions that we feel. And so if you look across different cultures, you get to see how, like the Spanish, you know, Latin culture, we have a ton of words for different emotions. Even the Germans, which I was so surprised that they have these terms because they're so stoic. You know, I've been to Germany and they're just like, they're not like expressive people. They're very stoic. So I thought, wow, and they actually have all these words. So you get to see, you know, what the research is yielding and what we're understanding as a result of it. Sita, you were talking about how we feel whatever the emotion is, we feel it at different levels, different intensities. You're absolutely right. We feel it at a cellular level. You know, I work with trauma, and a lot of times people are feeling it in the physical body before they have an understanding of what's going up in here. So part of what I do in working with trauma is teaching them to get back into their body so they can understand what that emotion feels like wherever it's manifesting in their body. And then once they have that understanding, then they can actually begin to process things a little bit better and hopefully desensitize it with time. So yes.
That's what I have found also.
Yes.
And I have been doing readings for 25 years. So I do a different type of counseling, and hands down, that's why one of the reasons I was moved to write this is I just truly surprising how people don't know what they're feeling, or they're very confused about it.
Yeah.
It's just and I don't think that it's that the English language is actually lacking words of emotions. I think that it's that we were not taught how to use them, and we were actually taught to deny and put some down, and that we shouldn't have them. I think that's the problem. Whereas in the Spanish language, oh, just, we just let it all out and cry all, as much as we want to.
Yeah.
So,
Jana, what were you going to say?
If you think about it, Sita, I think she talks about the non-feeling state that I think as a species that had to survive on the planet, we couldn't sit around and talk about feelings and identify them. It was like, go get your spear and, kill somebody kind of thing. And so we had to just really react and not talk about feelings. And if you even think about our generation compared to the next generation, compared to our grandkids, they feel and they talk about it. And it's so beautiful. So I think it's getting more to the forefront. And if I look at my generations before it, they would smile or get upset. There wasn't a lot of talk about feelings. It just didn't happen. So I get it. We have to now start working on it so that our kids and our grandchildren can identify them and be comfortable with them and acknowledge them. So I totally get it. Yeah. And you know what, you guys, I really have to go. These dogs are driving me crazy.
Thanks, Janet, and we'll see you next week. I was going to suggest to Sita that she give us that list, and maybe that would be a good gift to give at baby showers. The list of emotions and stuff. Just an idea.
that is adorable.
I have a baby shower on August 6th, so if you have it, that'd be great.
We'll get that to you. And so
I love you guys. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
bye-bye.
you for the invitation. Hey, are you going?
Yeah, I have a commitment at 11:30. I'm really feeling sad to leave this great conversation, but I'm looking forward for the next week. If you allow me to join you, and I make sure to keep my morning open.
Okay. You're part of the family now, Faye. You're not going anywhere. So
thank you so much. Have a great day and week.
Thank you for joining me.
Good to meet you again.
Marie, do you want to wrap this up in a bow so that we can start our week?
Yes. Well, if you notice that this chapter has a lot more that we can discuss, but I think that I love the research. I mean, the research is, it helps us have a better understanding. But I think that there's another piece that I have to address with this group is that we are a unique group. Conversations that Sita is bringing from her experiences, it's because we're awakened. Some of us are the different levels of the journey, but if you get out into the world with those that are not awakened, this conversation is going to sound super foreign to them. It's like, what is she talking about? What?
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. I mean, we are definitely looking at it from a way different perspective than, a lot of people probably.
Exactly. So for example, like your example about the gum wrapper, right? The person that threw it out is not awakened enough to appreciate.
Yeah.
What that one act causes, what would be the end consequence of something like that, right?
That's right. And I resent that person for that.
Yeah. And that resentment right there goes directly to envy, because you're taking responsibility for someone that's not.
That's right. So figured it all out. But it's exactly when Sita was sharing that, I was thinking, I really resent that person is not taking as much care of the planet as I want them to, or So
exactly.
Exactly. But I do sit there, Sita, just so you know, and I do drive and sit there and say, why are you so angry, Lisa? Why can't you let this go? Why are you, chasing this guy down on the freeway? And so I do a lot of analysis before I actually confront anybody. So, but I just am hopeful. I like this book, but I just, I think we're going to take a lot of it to heart. For sure. I mean, just we're stuck on these 3 words today because, and so I think it's really interesting. I love the way that we're looking at it.
But, all of this is part of our evolution. Whatever little pieces that you internalize, it's helping each one of us in our own evolution. We don't have to agree with everything the book says, but if there's something there that resonates with you, then that's helping your own evolution. And I'm pretty sure it's all going in the right direction. Like I tell my clients, you can't unknow what you know. You can act like you don't, but you can't unknow.
So I like that. Did anyone else want to contribute anything or ask any questions while we're talking about this, or you feel like we're in a good place to go forward for the week? Okay.
I highly recommend watching Brene Brown's TED Talk on vulnerability.
Yeah.
It is fabulous.
Yeah.
So
She does some good ones. Yeah.
yeah,
I told you she's got
20
the
minutes.
series. She's got the series for the book on HBO.
Yes. Yeah. But it was just to the point, and she defines terms very nicely. She teases them out, right? And it was really nicely done. I really liked it.
Okay, if I can find the link, I'll share that with everybody in an email.
Okay.
I highly recommend that TED Talk also. That was my introduction to her. And I just said, oh my goodness, right on, right on, right on.
Then I'll make it my goal today, Sita, to get that link done. Lynn, how are you doing over there?
I'm good. Yeah, I too had the definitions of jealousy and envy mixed up. And yeah, so like, oh, I didn't realize, because I thought jealousy was when I want what you have and I don't want you to have it, but that's the bad envy.
It's the bad envy.
Yeah, so I have bad envy and good envy. I have resentment.
By the way, being raised in the Catholic Church, they had the reversal of envy and jealousy.
Yes.
Jealousy is when somebody's got, the wife that you want and you want to go get that wife.
Yeah.
And envy is when they have $1 million bucks and you're just wishing that you had $1 million bucks, and you have resentment that they have $1 million and you don't. That's the bad kind of envy.
Isn't it one of the 7 sins?
That's what I was raised with.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, so this has been very enlightening for sure, Marie. I'm enjoying it very much.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys are.
So it's going to be helpful because, like, sometimes I have I have an example of not knowing what feeling I was feeling. Like I was like I don't know, a month or so ago, I was like feeling really down one day. And I'm like, what is that? What is that feeling? Because it was not a feeling that I had a lot. And I really had to think about it. And the feeling was loneliness. And like, oh, that's lonely. Like I'm never like quiet enough and bored. Like, I'm way too busy to get lonely. But this day I was like, I had a lot to do. And it's like, darn, I'm lonely. I want a big old hug and want someone to love me. I want to be like, those kittens that you were watching. I wanted that. And it's like, so it's like, it's good to, like, I have emotions that I can't identify because I haven't had them in a long time, or I haven't allowed myself to have them.
And Lynn, there's different levels of it too.
Yeah.
Then it's beginning to learn, okay, which kind is this and which kind is that?
Right. Am I the bad lonely or the good lonely?
What came up for me when Sita was bringing that up was that I remember being told, you don't feel that way.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, now I'm like trying to tease back in my mind, like what specifically that was in relationship to, but it seems like it was for a lot of things. And it was just like, no, you don't feel that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
What's
don't be so
acceptable.
dramatic.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh,
Boy.
God, yes. Yeah. It's so much discounting, right?
Mhm.
Astonishing, but that's where things are changing as we one generation to the next. Now we're, more encouraging, I think, than definitely our parents and our grandparents were.
And then I'm jealous of all those kids that get good parenting.
Yeah.
Why did they get it?
It's all
I have
right.
a lot of work to do. I have had therapy. Oh no, I do have a lot of work left to do.
Marie-
Evolving over here.
Go, Marie, for next week. Do you want us to continue this chapter, or would you like people to move on to chapter 3?
I'll leave it up to you ladies, because like I said, this book is very dense and rich within, I mean, look at how much time we spent on 2 main terms,
Right,
Mm.
right.
right?
Okay, well, I'll consult with the board of directors and we'll make the decision.
If you didn't get to Freud, what is it? Freud and Freuda?
Freud.
Freud and Freuda?
Judy,
Freud and Freuda?
Speaking of German, right? So, yeah, we would, we'll talk, but I think we'll probably just keep on this chapter one more week just to cover it all. I think it's a good idea.
It's a lot, but again, it's very rich in all the data that she's obtained through her research. And that's the nerd in me. I love all the research.
I know you do. Jan, how are you? It's nice to see your face.
I'm good, thank you. And it's nice to see all of you. And I love our discussion today. It was wonderful. Sita, thank you. Everybody, thank you.
Good. Thanks. I'm glad to see you, Jan. And Idel, too. You're over there. Everything good at your house in your neck of the woods?
Yep, we're alive, surviving the heat wave here. So
Yeah.
it's cooler today. It's 88 degrees. Yesterday it was 97. So.
Where are you?
Massachusetts.
Really? It's that hot up there?
Goodness.
Yeah.
It was 100 in Boston, and so that broke a record.
Wow.
Wow.
And the same in England, right? They've never, ever had temperatures that high ever.
Most of them don't have air conditioning or central air either. So at least we're lucky we've had it before.
Okay.
Wow.
Try and keep cool. I think we're doing okay here on the West Coast. We've got an overcast day, I do anyway. So you guys are bearing the brunt of the heat. So hang in there.
We took one for the Gipper.
Thank you, Idel. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Have a great week, ladies. Thank you very much, Marie, for helping us today. Thanks, Marilyn, too, for protecting us. And we'll see everybody Monday.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.